Alrighty, this is a setup video for the version 2 of the R6 menu system, which has a bit of an improved system when it comes to spawning in. It's still using the same backend for your loadout, so your old loadout should work. There has been a small update to those that I'll share in a moment. When it comes to setup, it's going to come in your standard folder drop. You're just going to click and drag all those to their needed locations. And workspace to workspace. Cool. You don't need that folder anymore. That old folder can go. This is the meat and the bones of the new system where most of the explanation will be. When it comes to setting up a new point, the only things you should have to set up are the main spawn points. These are the only ones you have any difficulty setting up. The main spawn point, for example, defender spawn, will be the main spawn for defenders. You can name it whatever you want. And all you have to do is you have to set the attributes down here. It's a new property that Roblox added to these. You just have to scroll down to the bottom. You need to have an attribute called capturable. You want that turned off. And you want current owner set to whatever your defender's team is. You will then position the spawn point wherever you need it to be. The spawn point wherever you need it to be, yeah. You're going to position it wherever you need it to be. Once it's in the position you want, you could just leave it there. It is now set up. It'll be registered to your team. Everything is fine. Same thing with the hostile spawn over here. You can just position that wherever you want it to be. All it needs is the attribute set to capturable no, and current owner is the team example team B. Here you have test point 2. This is going to be my first example show. So, go back 10 seconds. There are 2 different ways to set up a point now when it comes to how you want it to be. My old system, if you remember, it'll use essentially just a giant cylinder to detect hitboxes. That is no longer true of the new system. The new system operates on the mesh hitbox. So if I go over here and show off this, you will see this hitbox right here. This is the capture point. The capture point can be any shape that you want it to be. It can be any shape. It can even, if you look over here, for example, on this one, there is a hole in the middle. You cannot capture if you are standing in this hole on this capture point. It is what you see there. That is your capture point hitbox zone. Just like the other ones, though, you just position these. You do not need to create any attributes on the capturable points. That is all automatically handled by the system. When it comes to spawn points, all you have to do is you have to have a default spawn. Default spawn is where every team will spawn by default. If you want a team to spawn in a specific location, like let's say we wanted the example team B to spawn on the opposite side, you just create another thing, another spawn. You set its name to example team B space spawn. Now the raiders will spawn there. Same thing if you wanted an example team A spawn for your own team. If you want your own team to spawn on this side, bandits to spawn on that side. But if there's a third team in your game and they own the point, they could just spawn there. Cool. That is the capture point setup. All these capture points are now set up and able to be used. When it comes to setting up a team, very simple. You just have the team here. You set it to whatever name you want to be. So let's call this Defenders Team. Now, when I set Defenders Team, I have to remember to go through and update these to Defenders Teams. Right. I'll have to update that to Defenders Team, and I'll also have to update. In fact, I'm just going to do that. You'll have to update every single reference to the team name, obviously. So you have to update that. You have to update the current owner value. These names up here could be whatever you want them to be. So like I can set this to main spawn. And then you also have to set the group ID. This is for the old menu system's, group lock to make sure that you're a part of the group. And an image ID to represent your team on the capture point map. Once you do that, you have now set up the new capture point. So if you just hit play, you'll go through this loading menu. Your version will be different. It won't look like this. And there you are. You are spawned in. Or you're set up, and you can just click to spawn in. There's some changes to the loadout system that I'll go over now. One of the main changes, obviously, now you can add shields. There's a shield module in the system that it can call to and add shields. This is in support of the Ilterd's Fantasy Pack, which I'll link in the description of this video. But also, you can attach points now to right arms, left arms, legs, torsos. You can attach a mesh to any part of the body if you give it the appropriate name. I'll provide a README that tells you the formats for that. All you have to do to capture a point is just walk over to it and you will see that it updates. And on death, there'll be a 3-second pause, and then your character will zoom out, and the flags will spawn back in after 8 seconds so that you can spawn in. You can change that spawn length on your own in the system. I'll provide a README for that as well. I'm not going to explain to you how to set up the loadouts in this video because I've already shown you how to set up the loadouts in the past. It is the exact same loadout selection system. You just have your regimental enlist, for example, here with his settings variable. What I will say is on these new ones, you have to have this shield variable. If you don't want shields, just remove it. It's fine. But that is the only difference in the new system. That is the system fully set up and working. Thank you.